Hey, everybody, good morning. I need a round of applause to everybody in Chicago that's here, right? That's fabulous. Thank you. So for those that don't know me, my name is Stuart Schlossman. I'm president and founder of MS Views and News. Though this is not an MS Views and News program. This is a Yoga Moves MS program. And that's Mindy Eisenberg over there on the right, my right, your left. And she is the one that is responsible for wanting to do this event in this area for today. I want to thank our sponsors and our exhibitors. So giving you the name of our sponsors, we have TG Therapeutics, Biogen, Bristol Myers Squibb, EMD Serono, Horizon Pharmaceuticals, Novartis, Alexion, Genentech, Amneal, who's a new company that most of you have not heard about yet, and Banner Life Sciences. So let's give them a round of applause for supporting this event. Fabulous. Mindy Eisenberg is the director and founder of Yoga Moves MS. Her presentation is Yoga for Multiple Sclerosis. Mindy's the founder and director of Yoga Moves MS, a nonprofit 501c3 with the mission of improving the quality of life for individuals with MS, Parkinson's disease, and other neuromuscular conditions through the provision of adaptive yoga and holistic health and wellness education. Mindy has provided in-person and virtual yoga therapy to individuals with mobility challenges for over 17 years and thrives on building a strong, mighty community for her students, families, and care partners. Let's welcome Mindy.
Thank you, Stuart, and thank you, all of you, for being here today. I am Mindy Eisenberg, and Dr. Voci here, who's going to come up and demo. You can just come have a seat, Dr. Voci. Come. He's really responsible. He had the gall to move from Michigan to Illinois to Chicago, and we're like, you're not getting away with Yoga Moves MS that easily. And so he said, okay, bring it here. So here we are in Illinois, getting ready to launch Yoga Moves MS here as well. So thank you all for being here, because those of you online and in person, you guys make this what it is, and you contribute to the success, because really what we're doing is building community. Community is the building block. It is the foundation. So why am I motivated to do this? Well, I want to introduce you to my mother, Linda, and that's me, you can see. My mother was diagnosed with MS in her later 20s. And we call this Beauty and the Beast because she was quite beautiful, but there was a beast that came up, and it's called MS. And MS stopped her in her tracks. It was relentless. They called it primary progressive. There wasn't much out there. The doctor said, take some Valium, here's some steroids, and whatever you do, halt, don't move. So what happened? Over the years, she became more and more contracted into a fetal position. She spent over 20 years in a nursing home. Any of you got spasticity that just crunches you up and you feel like you're really tight? But then there was nothing. Thanks to medicine and research, there's so much more out there now. So many more options and possibilities. Fast forward multiple years, decades, I take teacher training for yoga. And after I finished the training, immediately my son's nursery school teacher, who has MS, says, will you come to our support group? It's at a real big MS center, and we meet once a month. So I go do some adaptive yoga. What do I know about adaptive yoga? I just finished this teacher training. And we did a class together, and then they said, will you keep doing this every week? We feel better. And lo and behold, people are telling me how much better they feel. I'm like, why do you come? Because I feel better. I move better. And so it started to bubble up to where we are with multiple locations in Michigan and doing it online, live. You heard Megan. We've melded our classes together, so there are virtual live classes every day. We have on demand for people who want to do it on their schedule. So with no further ado, what I want to say is I think of my mother right now. I think she's with us in the corner. I picture her dancing and free. And I hope that you will join us as we do this demo and move and find the freedom, the mind, the body, the connection within your body. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's this adaptive yoga thing, why would you want to do it, and what really comes out of it is this mind, body, heart connection. Everyone take your hand to your heart and stack it. I'm told I can't do that because I'm wearing a microphone and it'll make static, but you can do it and it feels so good. So press one or both of your hands, stack them on top of your heart, and then make circular motions. And just feel what your heart is saying to you right now. It's probably saying, oh, this feels really good. Why don't you do this more often? Let's talk a little bit more about what is yoga. So yoga, we heard exercise earlier today. And yoga's a little bit different than true exercise. Yes, in this country, it has become more of, it's all about the poses, it's all about the heat, it's all about how many poses you can do and which fancy ones. But really, does anyone know out there, how old is yoga? When did yoga originate? Yes. How many? Yeah, even more than that. I mean, I've seen up to 5,000 years. Depends which, history book you read. And the original intention was actually to prepare the body to meditate. So you can view yoga as a holistic umbrella, and that's really what it became the more that I practiced it. It's an umbrella, and underneath it, we've talked a little bit about breathing today. Mindful movement. So mindful movement, how is it different than exercise? There is an intention and an focus behind it to feel the sensation in your body as you move. When you're on the treadmill, you could be watching your favorite program. But when you're doing yoga and practicing a balance pose, you've got to be right there. You've got to be right present. So mindfulness fits right under this umbrella. So we have breathing, which we're going to do some, and it's highlighted in yellow for a reason, because breathing is the most important fundamental element of yoga. How many breaths do you think we take a day? Anybody want to throw out numbers? You can just guess. 10,000. You're getting there. You're getting there. 20,000? You're getting there. That's right. Somewhere between 20 and 25,000 breaths a day. Of course, it's dependent on the person. What could be more important than paying attention to our breath? What else do we do that many times? So we've got breathing, we've got mindful movement, we've got meditation. Some of you say, not me, I can't sit still, and certainly my mind can't. And that's true. Guess what? Your mind cannot stay still because that's not what it was designed to do. It is absolutely going to think no matter what you do. But the more we practice it, it's kind of like a snow globe. The thoughts settle down. I practice meditation every day. To me, it's just like brushing my teeth. And the more you do it, the more you feel the impact of it. And somehow the day just goes a little bit smoother. So really, yoga's about self-care, what you can do for yourself, how do you empower yourself, which is really the theme of today, And it's a lifestyle. So it's more than just the poses, which of course are important, but not of primary importance. So let's start with breathing. Because if you leave with nothing else today, focusing on your breath could be the most important. And we know we had a lot of data today and a lot of great knowledge. But some of the knowledge is right inside of you. So, a functional breath, there's some qualities to it. One of them is that you'll hear people say, take a deep breath. But what they really mean when they say take a deep breath is that it's low. About 50% of people out there have what we would call mouth breathers or reverse breathers. I see some nodding from those in person. It's not uncommon. And by the way, it's not a judgment. It's a pattern that has happened. It's evolved. And yes, you can change it. And yes, it is some work. But how many are breathing right now? If you're watching this or you're in person, neither way, you are breathing, right? You can take a minute out of your day and just focus on your breath, and it will make a difference. You'll start to notice. Take one or both of your hands to your belly. Maybe even softly close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes, but if you give yourself permission, it might help you to tune inward. And feel the fact that you're breathing without trying to judge, is this right or is this wrong? What is she talking about? Just feel it. Feel your body breathing. Feel the belly as it expands as you inhale. Feel the belly as you exhale. It just descends softly down. And we can control some of our energy through the breath. An inhale can be more energetic, an exhale can be softening, and it also can be strengthening. So we've got this low breath. We've got what we would call a slow breath. So when you think of somebody or yourself, when you're running or rushing, the breath is usually through the mouth and rapid and more in the chest. So this is the hard part, breathing in and out through the nose. For some, it's challenging to breathe in and out through the nose. This can truly impact your energy level. Notice your breath. You might have taken your hand down. Maybe your eyes are closed. Feel the breath as it comes in and out through your nose. And of course, if your nose is stuffy, that's an excuse. Breathe in and breathe out, focusing on your breath. Now, yoga has a whole bunch of different breaths out there, and I want to do kind of a fun one with you, and it's called bee's breath. And it came about by withdrawal of the senses. And you're going to take your thumbs to your ears, and you can take your ring fingers to your nostrils, and then maybe the index fingers are on the forehead, and then your third fingers are at the edge of your eyebrows, and then your pinkies are at the corners of your lips. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the idea is to remind us to go inward, and then you're going to hum like a bee. Let's hear it from the people in person, and those out there, you better be bzzing too. Bzz. So notice what happened. You can take your hands down. Did you feel a vibration? A vibration? Sometimes it's just a way to take a pause, but it also is a way for us to work our exhales and make our exhales a little bit longer. Because what happens when we're hyperventilating or chest breathing is that we lose that exhale. All right. So what are the benefits of yoga? So we've talked about some of the benefits of the different exercises. The benefits of yoga, it's known to be strengthening. We're doing some weight bearing. We're using resistance. I think what it's really known for, though, is flexibility, right? It can help with coordination, balance, posture, cognition, and when we look at the studies, what they really comes out is they say yoga impacts quality of life. It impacts quality of life because it's so holistic. So let's go back to strengthening, and this is one of my favorite hand mudras. So in yoga, it's not just the positions with our body, it's the positions with our hands as well while we're breathing. And so one of them is called Ganesha Mudra. If you're ever feeling like you just want to feel your strength, make a fist. Feel your strength. Notice what happens. You might notice your belly's pulling in. Now, take your right hand in front of you and your left hand behind, and you're going to make this kind of clasp where you're pulling your hands apart. Yeah, curl them in. That's right. Really, and now relax the elbows down and relax your shoulders. Now pull one hand against the other. Pull it. Notice how your muscles are activating. You might go, oh, one side feels a little stronger than the other. That's okay. Equate it out. We just kind of pull a little bit more on the other side. Notice how it comes into balance. You might even feel your center here. Go ahead and switch it up. So take the other hand in front, curl it, pull it, notice it. I'm feeling some different muscles engaging. You might be as well. Remember to breathe. Now, as you do this, I want you to take an inhale, and on your exhale, pull your hands apart a little bit more, and then release. Don't pull so much. Now we're going to do it again. On your exhale, pull. Shake it out. Let it go. Let it go. So when we talk about adaptive yoga, we're like, I can't do yoga. No way. I can't do it. I've got MS. You know what? So many people say, I can't do yoga who don't have MS, right? Yoga is for anybody, and it can be modified. Any pose can be modified. The truth is, every single pose is an adaptive pose. We're not ramming a body into a pose. We're making the pose work for us. It should be fun. Laughter should be in the room. Try not to take yourself so seriously. When we get groups together in person and online, there's some joking around. Try to make it playful, which also makes it more creative. Yes, we do use props. No, props are not a sign of weakness. Dr. Voci is going to help us do some demos with the props, but this is a yoga block, and it's made out of foam, and then a strap. It does not have to be a yoga strap. It could be a tie. It could be the belt from your robe. There should be no pain, all gain. Got that? No pain, all gain. Yoga is not about inflicting pain and making sure that we get our hand behind our head, no matter all cost to our shoulder. We tell our students, this is where we tune in and use that mind-body connection to realize where is the point of what we call delicious discomfort and acute pain. But sometimes we get so distracted that we're not tuning in, and then you sit down and you go, oh, my back hurts. Yoga helps us come to this moment and to realize it before it gets to that acute pain. The pace of your practice is determined by you. Nobody else. Doesn't even matter if you're in an adaptive yoga room or not. Room temperature. There's been some talk about temperature today. We keep it around 70 degrees. And of course, we always ask our students, how do you feel? And we adjust it. Now, in our model, when we have in-person classes, we have lots and lots of assistants. It's not just one teacher. It's about 3 or 4 teachers per person. Per class. That would be a lot. That would be a lot. We need a big, heavy budget for that. So somewhere between 2 and 4 teachers for somewhere between 8 and 12 students. All right, so there's some myths. You have to be flexible to do yoga. I hear that all the time. You know, one of the biggest questions is, why aren't people coming to yoga? So I started looking at some of the myths. You know, some of these, they're almost like excuses. No, you do not have to be flexible to do yoga. In fact, those who are stiff may benefit more. I'm you're stiff, so, and what do you say, Dr. Voci?
It's been great for me.
It's been great for you. He's been practicing a long, long time. It's going to help him, maybe more than me. I'm hypermobile. Somebody who's hypermobile actually needs to be really careful and really practice with that intention and focus so that they don't injure themselves. People think it's all about the stretching. That kind of gets back to this flexibility. The truth is, a really good stretch is using an isometric, and while one side is stretching, the other side, the muscle is engaging. And there are different types of stretching, so I'm generalizing just a little bit here. This is a big one. Success is based on the ability to do the poses and what it looks like from the outside. That could not be further from the truth. It's not, as we said, yoga wasn't even intended to be all about the poses. There were only 8 poses when it originated. It must be practiced in a hot room. We know that's not true. Now, this one. You got to wear fancy attire to do yoga. I mean, you know, where did that come from? How about a t-shirt and some comfortable clothing? And the other one, it's just exercise. And I think you already know the answer to that question. It's not just exercise. It's about the unification of the mind and the body and the spirit. And Megan did talk about that. So now it's time for a demo, and I'm hoping that you at home and in person will make yourself comfortable. You can use a chair if you want to grab some props if you're at home, or a strap. And here there's always a way to adapt. Now I'll ask you this too. I know this is kind of, take off your shoes. So one of the most important things, you're nodding at me, take your shoes off. There you go. The truth is, as we get older, we lose sensation in our feet. It's actually really important to massage the bottom of your feet, to feel them as they touch the earth. Thank you, Mama Earth, today. Happy Earth Day, everyone, once again. Let's walk in place in the chair, and if you'd like to stand and do it in place and feel it. So there's a few different ways you could do it, of course. One would be to, as Dr. Voci, now really make the movement here, right? So inhale, lift your right knee. You might use your hands underneath your thigh. You might not. You might stand. You might hold on to a walker, a table, a countertop, a chair. Exhale, let it go. Let it go. Did you hear that thud? Let's do the other side. It's okay. Don't hurt yourselves, okay? We're not going to get too aggressive here, but inhale and lift the leg. And you know what? This thing is heavy. Isn't it heavy? It weighs, you know what? This is the heaviest bone in the body, the femur bone. So lift it up. It's like, who said yoga wasn't like lifting weights? All right. Exhale, let it go. Yes. Do it a few times now. Do each side. Really feel the impact as you lower the leg. Let it go. Make a little thud. Don't hurt yourselves, right? Notice which part of your foot lowers first. Notice which part of the foot you don't feel as you lower the foot down. Just notice the sensation. So those of us who do use a cane or a walker or any other ambulatory method, we want to make sure that we do things like this to make stimulation on the bottom of the feet. If you have a tennis ball at home or another ball, I highly recommend that you roll your foot on the ball every day. I keep one by my nightstand. It's super important. Massage your feet. Let's do a little hip open here, okay? We're going to do the yoga handshake, but you got socks on, so you're going to have to kind of push through your socks a little bit, all right? Let's lift the right knee, hug it in. Everybody, hug it in. And notice how you hug it in. You take your hands in front of your shin. You sit up tall. Yeah, yoga's about posture, right? Feel your head above, it's above your tailbone. Let's circle the right knee around and about. Juice up that joint. Kind of like, what are you stirring now? I don't know, maybe there's hot fudge, marshmallow goo. I don't know, I must have sugar on my mind, and we're not supposed to be having that, right? Bring the knee in, and now there's going to be some choices. One is to take the foot down for a hip opener like that. Another one is to maybe take the ankle up, that's right, and bring it over the thigh. Or, yes, I saw someone, you can bring your foot onto the chair. Now, if you're at home and you have pillows or blankets, or sometimes we stack these blocks up to bring the foot up a little bit higher. So if your hip is really tight, you would over time lift it up more. That's right. You might rest it on something next to you. And you might take your fingers and place them in between your toes. We call this the yoga handshake. How's that going for you with the socks on? Oh, yeah. You want to play with your toes. Get it in there, circle the foot around, circle the ankle around. I said get your fingers in between your toes. Absolutely, absolutely. We call this the yoga handshake. How you doing today? All right, place it down. Let's do the other side. We have to treat the other side just as well. Bring that knee in and circle it around and about. And you'll notice this side may be very different. Now, some of you like to go really fast, and some of you are going slow. Try it both ways because it feels very different. Feels very different. Good. And now this side, it could be a little bit tighter, or maybe there's a little bit more range of motion. So it's going to depend. It's totally going to depend. And so maybe you rest your foot on a block. Maybe you rest it on another chair. Maybe you put it over your thigh and you sit tall. Yeah. So this also is a hip opener, and at the same time we get to say hi to our toes. And by the way, if they're tight, you can always just do one or two toes. I am really into those toe spacers too. So if you've contemplated, I highly recommend it. There's some that feel really good in between them, and you can wear them while you're hanging out on your computer, watching a show. Some people wear them to sleep. Some people wear them while they're doing yoga. Highly, highly recommend stimulating the bottom of your feet. And let's let that go. How you feeling?
Good.
Okay. Let's circle around on our hips. Circle around on our hips. And Joy mentioned a seated sun salute, so I think we got to do it. Or she mentioned an adapted sun salute. We're going to do a few varieties. We'll do a few varieties here. So if you'd like to stand and that's available to you, go for it. And if you want to stay seated, go for that. Let's come back to center and we'll sit tall. Yes, yoga is about posture. So feet are underneath, the heels are about underneath your knees. Feel your sitting bones on the chair. Take your ribs and feel them. Maybe take your hands to them. They're going to stack over your hips. Good. Now take a breath in and a breath out. And notice how the belly pulls in on that exhale. And then inhale, you feel your ribs and they expand. Good. And then exhale and feel your shoulders as they're stacking over your hips. Release your hands in your lap. Good. And imagine the top of your head over the base of your spine. Now, you don't have to do it now, depending upon where you're at, if people are around, whatever. But I encourage you to go, oh, where is my tailbone and where is the top of my head? And feel the stacking. So you literally close your eyes with your hand on top of your head and maybe feel your tailbone or just picture where it's at. If you tune inward, you'll figure it out. The more you do this, you might rock forward and back, and you'll get an idea. It doesn't have to be perfect, but stacking over your tailbone, beautiful. You might even wave forward and back a little bit, and then come back to center. And on our inhale, we're going to take our arms up overhead. Good. Reach high. Let the palms face each other. Excellent. On the exhale, I'm not going to hit the podium here. You can take your arms wide or hands to your hips. And you're going to come forward about 20% or 30% of where you think you could. Feel long through your spine, remembering that tailbone, and then travel with your mind's eye up the spine and out through the crown of your head. Good. Then take your hands to the top of your thighs. You're going to circle your shoulders up and back. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Beautiful. And now on your exhale, round your spine and gaze in towards your belly. And on your inhale, you're going to take your heart and your chest forward, shoulders up and back. Inhale, take your arms forward, perhaps upward. Now, you could do part of this, some of this. You could just breathe. You'd be doing yoga. Notice the weight in your feet in this pose. This is almost chair pose right here, right? Well, it is chair pose. We're sitting in a chair, aren't we? We're sitting in a chair. All right, so we might rock forward and back, and then this would be the standing version. You don't have to, but you could just rock forward and back and imagine in your mind's eye that you were lifting your buttocks off the chair, or maybe you take a millimeter and you come up just a teeny bit, a millimeter, a centimeter, and an inch off the chair. Maybe you rock it and you feel your feet as they press down, and maybe your butt sticks back. You know what we say in yoga? When in doubt, stick your butt out or back. And then exhale and slowly lower down. Inhale, take your arms up overhead. Exhale, arms out to the side, as long as you're not going to knock someone. Hands to the hips or to the side. Lean forward, shoulders up and back. Exhale, hands to your thighs. Round your spine like this cat. So pull your belly in. You're going to feel your shoulder blades move apart. Your sitting bones are moving down. You know, sometimes we don't even know where our sitting bones are. So angle them down, and then inhale, heart moves forward, shoulders up and back. Inhale, swing your arms. That's right. Feel this lengthening. Now take your sitting bones back, whether you are lifting or not. Maybe press down through your feet. Maybe rock forward and back. Maybe you lift up for a split second or longer. You might notice your thighs are working. How long should we stay up for? We could just keep talking, have a little chat here. Exhale, slowly lower down. Take your hands to your heart. Wonderful. We're going to do a twist. A twist a day. Now, really, you should do a twist several times a day after each meal. It gets kind of stagnant in here. Maybe not right after the meal, after you've digested, but it gets a little stagnant in here. We need to move this around. Let's take our right hand outside our left thigh. That's it. And you can take your left hand at a diag behind you, or you can clasp the chair. That's it. So however you want. You can also put your hand on the seat of the chair back there. Lift up tall through your spine. That's it. You're drawing your left shoulder back a little bit. You'll feel your shoulder blade on your back. Neck turns last. We tend to crank our necks. So allow your nose and the middle of your belly to kind of line up, and then maybe you turn your head a little bit more. You might feel a little bit of a stretch. And then inhale, return to center. Let's take our arms up overhead. And we're going to exhale and find a twist the other way. Left hand outside right thigh, right hand to the seat of the chair, the back of the chair, or just out, and diag behind you. What I love about a twist is it's also a shoulder opener. You can feel your shoulders open. Breathe in. Breathe out. People say, how long should I stay in a pose? Generally, we tell people 3 to 5 breaths to start with, and then over time, you can make your own adjustments. Come back to center. Inhale, circle the arms up, and exhale, bring them towards your heart. Let's do a seated warrior. What do you think?
Sounds good.
What was that I heard? Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. All right, so there are different ways. I'll show it standing. You'll show it seated. We're going to take the right knee out to the side, and the left knee is going to come forward. That is one way. Another way is to extend this back leg. That's it. And you're going to take your ankle under your knee, this way. There we go, see? At first, sometimes, you just got to check it out and see how it feels. And then you're going to try to gently press this leg back. Now, if Dr. Voci's knee was injured, I would suggest bringing the knee forward instead and not lengthen this leg out. So this is where we get to know our body and honor it. We're not forcing the body in these positions. So you want to find the adaptations that's right for you. I'm going to show it standing. Now, sometimes what I really love is wall yoga, but we can use the chair because you can have the wall. The wall is a prop. I didn't mention that, but the wall is very much a prop. You could do warrior against the wall. You can also hold on to a chair and do your warrior pose. And then check out your balance. Now push down through your feet. Now, okay, fine. Maybe there's some flexibility required here, but this is a strengthening pose. Push your feet down like you mean it. Bring your awareness to the bottom of your feet and feel it. You don't need to look at your toes, Dr. Voci. Look, you're going to be a warrior. Turn to your right and maybe take your right arm out to the side. That's right. Relax your shoulders. You see why we do yoga? It's to release some stress. Soften your elbows. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Spread your arms wide. You can take one arm up. You can take both arms up. Turn your palms upward. That helps to relax your shoulders a bit. That's right. Feel this. Now push your feet down and pull them towards you, but don't move them. So pull them towards you, pull them towards your center, pull them towards each other, but don't move your feet. What do you feel? My guess is you feel some muscle activation. This is not just about flexibility. Have we dispelled that myth? Yes. All right, let's bring our feet back together. That was a long time to hold it. By the way, you should never just listen to the yoga teacher. I feel that the yoga teacher is a guide, a facilitator. They are not the boss. Guess who's the boss of your body? You. That's right. Who knows you best? You. And the yoga helps us to get to know ourselves maybe a little better. We better do the other side, right? All right, so left knee's out. It could be totally different. Feel your body. That's right. Bring your leg a little bit forward. We want the knee to go about over the heel. Beautiful. All right, you see how he's looking at his feet and checking everything out over here? We should make him close his eyes. You know, you were the one who told me that closing the eyes was a good thing.
Yeah, because it forces you to rely on the sensory feedback from your feet and legs and not rely on your eyes for balance.
There you go. You see that? And neuroplasticity, that's a word that's get thrown around. And you're developing different pathways. Is that true? In your brain. So if you close your eyes, you no longer get to use the vision. You have to go inside and use a different pathway in your brain. Now gaze over your fingertips, even though you can't see them. That's right. All right, we'll let him bring his arms down and bring your legs back together. I want to make sure we do tree pose because it's Mama Earth Day. We have to do tree pose. Even if Stuart said your time is almost up, I'd say, Stuart, we gotta do tree pose. You're gonna cut my tree off? Oh. There's lots of variations of tree pose. There's seated tree. Okay, so seated tree actually goes back to a little bit what we were doing with the hip opener. First, we start in what we call mountain pose. Another important aspect of our Mother Earth are the mountains. So picture yourself as a strong mountain. And what are the qualities of a mountain? Stable, right? Kind of quiet. And then you're going to focus on the left leg being your standing leg. It's the one, or the foundation leg. It's the one that's going to push down into Mama Earth. It's going to root down. Push your foot down. And then you can take your right foot and bring it to the ankle. That might be an option. You might rest your knee on a chair, so similar to what we just did. And then, for balance, you might have your hands on the chair. You might take one arm up. You might take both arms up. You might close your eyes. I'll give you some standing options. Looks like Joy's going for one of them. Oops, did I knock your tree?
Just a branch.
One of your favorite poems is about tree, right? Yes. Dr. Voci put it in my book. You'll have to check it out. So, if you're standing, you can hold on to a chair. You can be against a wall. You can have a chair and a wall. We start in our mountain pose. We transfer our weight to one leg. I'm going to take it to the left and bring the right foot to the ankle. Hold on to the chair with one or both hands. And maybe we take one or both arms up. Maybe. It's always amazing. Maybe. You could also do something, we call this Hakini Mudra. You've probably seen this. You do it. You've probably done this. When you're thinking, you're pensive, you take your fingertips together. So they might be in front of your heart, or it could be up above. A few yoga tricks for balance. By the way, you can come out of the pose or you can stay in the pose. You get to decide. But keep lifting up through the inside. Think about a tree. What is a tree like with these roots down into the earth and the strong trunk? You might close your eyes as long as you feel safe. A yoga trick, Joy's like, a yoga trick, first of all, guess what the first trick is in yoga? Breathing. Breathing. That's right. And who helps us breathe out there? Trees. Mama Earth Day, the trees. So finding a spot to stare at while you're breathing. Those are 2 yoga hacks. Finding a spot to stare at while you breathe. And we'll do the other side. So we bring both feet back down. We return to mountain pose. Yes, tree pose is an asymmetrical pose. And what we did warrior, that's an asymmetrical pose. And this is a way you can adjust it. If you feel like one side is stronger than the other or flexible than the other, guess what? You can give one side more attention. Another thing I should mention is students say my bad leg and my good leg, and you know what we do? Not allowed. No I can'ts and no bad and good legs allowed. It's not allowed. You can make up all kinds of words you want, like right leg and left leg. You can get really creative. We've got coworkers comes up sometimes. They're really helping each other out and doing the best they can. I'm not making light of it, and this is a big discussion that can go on in the yoga room. Transfer to the other side. And we know with balance that one side is going to feel a little bit more steady than the other one. And that's okay. Where the mindfulness comes in is first when we go to a pose, like a balance pose, we're practicing balance, we tend, what are you doing? What are you when we're doing something like balance that makes us come right in this moment, we can't think about anything else. So it very much is helping focus, cognition, attention, awareness. That buzzword, mindfulness, it's really not a buzzword. It is a very important word, and it's very powerful. When we do these poses, we have the intention to pay attention on purpose in this moment, right here, right now, without judgment. That's what I was trying to get at. Yoga's not about judgment. Your tree is beautiful right now. You can put your leg down. With compassion, that's another important point to the yoga, to the mindfulness, is with compassion and loving kindness. So I don't want to use my time up here. At the end of a yoga session, perhaps the most important pose, we're going to let you do this. I feel that two-chair yoga is sometimes way better than one chair because you can put your feet up. And you can have a seat.
Okay.
You know Shavasana resting pose. You can get your feet up there. That's right. Lengthen them out. You're going to sit tall. You know what? We're going to put this behind your back. I just want you to see this. You'll see this. He's going to put it behind his back, and then you're going to see how he sits nice and tall there. Yeah. So you want to make yourself comfortable for Shavasana. You can rest look at him. He's resting, Let your hands rest in your lap. You see, he just went right to it. It's probably his favorite pose. There's t-shirts that say, I came for Shavasana. So the translation of Shavasana is actually corpse pose. Yeah, you can, and it can be, people are like, wait a minute. So in my book, we called it relaxation pose instead. A little less controversial. But the idea is that you're resting, you're restoring, and you're revitalizing. You're replenishing. When people say, what is your most favorite pose, if you said to someone who has MS and has fatigue, my absolute favorite pose is legs up the wall or legs up on a chair. Because it's restorative. Yes, do all the aerobic exercise that Dr. Model said to do. But weave in your resting poses, maybe a little bit of breathing and meditation as well. We might put a blanket on him, let him rest before his talk, right? But so you should make yourself really comfortable. You should make yourself really comfortable. It's super important. So as we end, because before Stuart scolds me, we will move to what changes with yoga. It was just a little short demo today. I wish I could, we need to have a whole day on yoga. But this is what my students tell me. I walked in and I was really skeptical. My friends told me I should do it. But I became a believer in possibilities. And we see that all the time. I can't do that pose. And then, lo and behold, I can't feel my feet. That's a big one. My feet are numb. I can't feel them. And I'm not arguing that you can't feel your feet the way you could have. Sensation changes. I went from stagnant to moving, fearful to grateful. We become grateful for what the body can do. Refreshed, desperate to hopeful, isolated to community member. If I had to pick, one of the greatest benefits of yoga is that it brings the community together. We're together in person and online today. You can feel the energy of people being together. It's cohesive. Yoga provides the foundation for this. It provides a structure. People say, I feel better. I'm focusing on my ability rather than my disability. One said to me, I hated my body. I hated my body. And she wrote this quote, "I feel reunited with my body and what we can do together." Because let's face it, MS can make us hate our body. I want to get out of my body. I don't want to be in my body. Why should I get in my body? I don't like it. But yoga helps us get back in the body and use it as a vessel. Our spirit is really what's important. So, member of a compassionate community, I encourage you to join the Yoga Moves MS community to do the yoga. Let's take our hands together in front of our hearts at the end of a yoga session. And by the way, yoga's not a religion. I want to dispel that. Yoga's not a religion. At the end of a class, we acknowledge our light, your light. We all have light within us, no matter what religion you are or you identify with, or if you don't identify with, you all have light in you. And so we acknowledge that. We honor the light and love. We respect each other, and we bow to each other. And our light reflects back. And together, we become whole. Namaste. Namaste. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mindy.
All right, so online, well, no, it's not, Stuart. So my book is on there, the cards are on there. Join our live classes if you don't live in an area. For those of you who live in Chicago, one of the main purposes that we did this is to bring Yoga Moves MS here. We are hoping to open a class here in the next 12 months. And it's to spread the joy. It's to spread the joy of the yoga as far and as wide as we can. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you very much. Anybody have questions for Mindy? What are the similarities and differences with yoga and Pilates?
So I am not an expert in Pilates, by the way. But some of them that appear to me is that Pilates, there is Pilates on the mat, but they also have the machines. We don't use machines. Our body is the machine. We use props, blankets, blocks, straps. When I practiced Pilates before, I noticed the breath was opposite, and I was having a lot of trouble with it. And so I don't think that the breath and the way they teach it is necessarily in alignment. Other than that, I'm just not an expert in Pilates, so I don't want to say too much about it. What I can say, though, is what we've been trying to impress is that yoga is about the connection between the mind and the body and the spirit, and there's this intentional movement. We are paying attention to the movement, to our reactions and our responses in these poses when we're meditating. So it's more about the mindfulness, and that may not be a focus in a Pilates class.
Thank you very much. And now to help, go ahead, round of applause. Today's sponsors were TG Therapeutics, Biogen, Bristol Myers Squibb, EMD Serono, Horizon, Novartis, Alexion, Genentech, Amneal, and Banner Life Sciences. And again, we want to thank all of them, right? Also, the person who created this whole thing, Mindy. I'm going to say goodbye to you all right? Have a good one. Thank you.